you practice, friend?
So I do emerging company venture capital work.
Okay.
That just sounds important.
He makes money. It's his watch.
And are we ready?
Oh.
Love is the easiest to find when you move with intention. This is Dating Dilemmas Explained, and the show starts right now. That felt so weird. What up, though? Jay the Gentleman here. That's at J-A-I the Gentleman on IG, and we're live from the back room right here on Dear Black Gay Men podcast. I know how heavy stigma can feel, how silence can weigh on you, but I also know the power of sharing our stories. It's kind of the premise of what we do here. That's why I'm honored to share these stories with you tonight in observation of HIV is not a crime day. For more information about HIV is not a crime, scan this QR code and check out the resources. Is there a QR code? We'll get to the QR code shortly. It's no secret that I would not be the same position without the courageous men and women living with HIV who have made such an impact on my life. I took my first HIV test because of a mentor who was living with HIV. I got on PrEP because of a partner that was living with HIV. And I'm living today because our culture full of people, like some of my guests today, who fight tirelessly for the rights and health of people living with HIV. Tonight, I'm joined by a public health advocate that has spoken across the globe on behalf of people living with HIV, and he happens to be a backroom all-star. Please welcome Dr. Daniel. Hey! And then I'm also joined by the creator of The Legal Note on TikTok. He's a black lawyer who happens to speak Portuguese because niggas be smart. Please welcome Seth to the show. Hey, Seth.
Hey, what's going on, Jay?
You do speak Portuguese, yes?
Not fluent. I can get to the grocery store and...
Can you find some ass in Portuguese?
Listen, about to get married, so...
Are you about to get married?
I was.
Oh, I thought you said you... Pull the mic to you, honey. We can't hear you. Pull the mic to you. You could adjust it.
You told me.
There you go. Okay, we want to make sure we hear your beautiful voice. Are you with somebody now?
No, I mean, well, I'm in Atlanta. We all with something.
Oh, wow. Wowzers.
Let's be real.
I mean, welcome to the back room. Okay, so while we are observing HIV is not a crime day, we will not be talking all about HIV. The real purpose of this conversation is I want to have a normal conversation about normal gay people stuff. Fair?
Okay. Fair.
Cool.
Fair.
Let's go.
Doc, this is your 50-second appearance in the back room. Welcome.
Thank you.
Are you excited to be here?
I love the back room. I like a lot of back things. Yeah, it's like being at home.
It's like being at home.
Mm-hmm.
Well, welcome home, Doc.
Thank you.
And said this is your first time in the back room.
It's not my first time on with you, but
it is not your first time. You were at our live show.
I was at your live show,
and where you dropped some nuggets of knowledge there that we'll talk about shortly.
Show enough.
Are you ready?
Of course.
Are you ready, Doc?
Let's do it.
Are y'all ready? Yes. All right, let's get into the episode.
My face?
Yeah.
All right.
Talk into the top of it, honey.
Okay.
Turn it.
Oh, okay.
Turn.
Listen, I'm new to this, not true to this.
That's okay. It won't bite.
Wait a minute.
It won't bite.
Wait, somebody adjust the thing for
Right,
him.
now
It's
it's all in my
Thursday,
face.
Thursday, and I always start with the same question. What have you had it with in black gay culture? Doc, I'm going to start with you. What have you had? Last time you said the Ellen salmon. What have you had it with? You're always good for us, something petty.
Damn it.
Y'all play Donkey Kong driving cart on 20 East this way, and I just don't understand why. It's like folks forget the Gresham Road exit is on the right-hand side.
You know, I think the Fulton County girls can't drive.
It is like like someone was in the HOV lane in front of me, and the HOV lane has the double white lines
yes.
on that part. Just boom, right in front of me. I'll be like,
I'm here. I mean, I agree. People in Atlanta, Georgia don't really know how to drive. I'm glad I learned how to drive elsewhere. I'm glad I learned how to drive in the north in snow.
I know y'all don't have insurance. I know these people don't
That
have
is probably why
insurance.
my insurance is sky high.
Mine too.
Mine is too. I'm about to register in Alabama with my daddy.
Oh.
I thought I was going to register in like South Georgia somewhere where the population is 52, but I'm not going to talk about insurance fraud on the internet. Seth, what have you had with in black gay culture?
Whatever I had, I've had it with this idea that love has to look one way. Like love has to look a certain way.
What do you mean by that?
I feel like people have the whole point. Well, not the whole point of being gay, but like the nice thing about being gay is that we can make our own rules, right? Like it doesn't have to look like everybody else's relationship. My relationship doesn't have to look like my mother's and my father's. And I feel like a lot of times we are trying to cosplay straight relationships.
We're trying to cosplay straight relationships
because we want their approval. We want their sign off, and if we think
we want the straight sign off,
we want the straight sign off because they're like, if it looks like theirs, then
it'll be okay
real.
with it.
Just saying. And I don't need nobody's approval or nothing. I gotta go.
What do you think it'll take for us to break out of that?
I think we just have to. We gotta own it. Like we gotta be able to understand that we don't require their approval. We don't require anybody's approval. I don't need anybody to sign off on. I don't need you to approve of me.
Well, but it takes a lot of courage to sit heavy in that, to stand 10 toes down on not needing others' approval.
Absolutely.
Because in my head, I think about all the little gay boys and gay girls who want, they daddy or they mama to walk them down the aisle, and they want, family to show up at their wedding and blah, blah, blah.
But why do they want it?
I don't know. I mean,
The external
in my big age, I don't care anymore.
Yeah.
But you had to get
You
there.
had to get there.
I did have to get there.
And it
Like,
takes a while to get there.
it took me 40 years.
Absolutely.
40 years.
It's
and
the
now I'm here.
validation.
Validation.
I literally sent you like this little thingy on the IG earlier.
You send
And
me
it
a lot
was,
on IG,
watch
and
your
I watch
mouth.
all of it.
Okay.
I watch all of
Okay.
it. I can't respond to all of it, but I watch all of it.
Someone told me recently they only watched the last one that I sent them, and I said, "Oh, you're blocked."
I do watch. Let me not say all. I watch most. But I text you more than I'm on IG.
Okay.
Text me.
We're not DM friends. We're text.
You don't text
friends.
me.
I can text you.
Thank you, Doctor.
Okay.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
Here we go.
I'm
A
just
doctor,
saying.
a lawyer, and a butch queen walk into a back room. Got it.
I like
Okay.
pets.
I've had it with the jaded gays. Y'all ready for this?
Go.
Yeah.
Okay. Some of us are still in the dating pool because we don't believe there's a way out of it. I know your ex was a piece of shit, but that doesn't mean every other man in the world is. Dating is like life. You only get out of it what you believe is possible for yourself. If you're stuck in a dating pool, sometimes, honey, the anchor weighing you down is you.
That's real.
Real true.
Very true.
That's
Real
real.
true.
But now it's time for our favorite part of the show. Well, my favorite part of the show. This is one of our newest segments and our newest favorite segments. This is Top 5. Hit it. Max. This is our new segment where me and my guests give our top 5 of a topic. If you agree, give this episode a thumbs up. If you disagree, let me know what your top 5 is in the comments. Today's top 5 is top 5 ways that you know that he could be the one.
Okay.
Okay, I say one of mine is you think of him when you're taking a shit,
Oh.
or intimate personal moments. Intimate personal moments, like you can think of sharing intimate personal moments with each other. I think that is a good way for me to know. I don't want to take a shit on someone though.
I would hope. I will.
We're not gonna yuck anyone's
We don't
yum.
yuck yum here.
Yeah.
We're not gonna yuck anyone's yum.
Yeah.
You like it, I love it.
Well, I don't
mean,
know if I would
love
like
it.
or love that one, but.
You know,
But again, if that's your thing, okay. But what about you, dog? What's the way that you know he's the one?
I think it feels easy.
It feels easy.
I think it's like breathing. When I think of happy things, I think of a handful of things. I think of like
Yes.
flying. I think of being around
flying a
family.
777 across the ocean.
Oh, 777.
Daniel loves some international travel, honey. Passport stamp him, please.
Yes, passport control flight. So
With
I
global
think it's
reentry.
easy. I think it's easy.
Do you think that people? In my head, I can hear the girl saying that if it's too easy, then it feels like the other shoe is gonna drop.
Again, I mean, I thought we was on Brene Brown like a few years ago, and not really. Hey, Panthro, and not
God.
really thinking.
He the one when he pays off my mortgage.
Wow.
Panthro gets more and more dateable every episode.
Bring him on.
We learned that Panthro is a big dick bottom.
Yes.
We learned
Bring
that
him
Panthro
on.
is submissive in last episode, and now we know Panthro is a homeowner
Bring him
looking
on.
for a man to pay off his mortgage. That's the kind of man I like. That's the
Bring
shit
him
I'm on. Okay,
Respect
Seth.
that.
Well, how do you know he's one?
Oh, I am the one.
But how do you know you found him?
I found him. It's me.
So you're saying, sorry, you saying that finding another one is impossible?
I don't think I'm not. I think that is where people make the mistake.
Why?
Because there's this idea, right? Like this is also something that I'm over. Like I'm done with. This idea that
You see this lit me up because
Yeah.
now I'm ready.
yeah, now you're ready.
Tapping in with my cocktail.
Go ahead and tap in. This idea that you are supposed to find this great, amazing love. Like you're supposed to find this love that trumps all other love, like everything else that you could feel for anybody else. All the other experiences you've had in love, you gotta wait for this man that's gonna show you what love really is. Right. And I spent a long time. I spent many, many years of my life looking for this love that trumped every other experience I've ever had. And that it would just give me this clarity, and it would be like this aha moment, and I would know he was it. And I thought about it, and I realized how disrespectful that is to the love and the experiences and the people that I have all around me. That I was looking for something that would trump the love my friends have for me, the love my family has for me. I have people from all over the country that if I said I'm in trouble would stop what they were doing right now, get on a plane and come get me. And I'm looking for some men to make me feel like I have something that I'm missing. And I never wanted to die as Christopher Columbus. Christopher Columbus is a horrible person, but he died looking for the place he already was. And I refused to do that. I am the one. I don't need nothing else. I'm not looking for nothing to complete me. I don't need. If I die right now, I've lived a wonderful life, and I have been loved, and I have known love.
Come on, Maya Angelou.
But wait a minute. That all sounds very woke and very.
Come on, let's go.
How then
Nah,
does
I'm woke.
anybody become special to you if you are comparing him to a plethora of other people? You're saying nobody is going to be any better at loving you than anybody else?
I
Is that what you're saying?
I don't need anybody to be special to me.
I didn't say what you needed, but I said, well, what distinguishes a relationship from a friendship then, aside from sex, or is that it?
I don't think that there needs to be any distinguishing marker like that's.
So
what
why
I'm
don't
saying.
you marry your friends then?
Why not? If
I'm
that's-
asking you. You the one who believes this.
I mean, you can. I
No, you. I'm asking you.
I'm just saying everything is possible. Like there's no cookie cutter to this. There's no model here for us, right? Like if I find somebody who I feel like makes me want to follow a particular path, then that's great. But I'm not out here looking for nothing. I have no void I'm trying to fill.
But that wasn't the question that I started with. The question that I started with was, how do you know that you're willing? What does someone present to you to even consider taking that journey?
But the premise is that I need to take that journey in the first place, right? It's like, oh, of course you're looking for a relationship. I think that's what we come to.
No. That's not the premise of what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, if there is a journey in front of you, regardless of if you need to take it or not, what does someone have to present you to say, I'm willing to take this journey with you?
I think that begs the question. Like I don't need a journey. Like I'm not looking for.
No
a
one's
journey.
saying you need a journey.
Right.
I'm just saying, if there is one in front of you, you can't sit in the same place forever. If there is a journey beyond where you are now, and there is someone to share it with, what in your head says, I can do this with you?
But that's what I'm saying. I think we're talking past each other because I'm saying I'm on my own. This is my journey,
Yes.
right? And I'm on it with a lot of people, a lot of
Right.
wonderful, lovely people who matter to me just as much as anybody who I could come in that would also offer sex to me, right? Like if that's the. I don't know.
It
It's
sounds
just,
like you're saying that nobody can be special then.
No.
Everybody is special, so no one is.
Yeah, everybody's special in a different way. Like everybody has a different place in my life. Like I just don't think that we're always looking for this person that's going to be more special than everybody else. Like that they're going to have the very specific place that nobody else exists in. And that in a way makes me feel like that trumps these other loves, and it just doesn't. Like, it's different, right? Like, you have a different
what if they're
experience with.
just different to a same magnitude, just different? This is a
Yeah.
romantic. There's a difference between a romantic love and a friendship love, and a different kind of the love I have for Daniel.
At least for you.
Yeah.
The love I have for Daniel, for instance, it runs deep. I've known Daniel for a very periodically long time.
Right.
But me and Daniel ain't getting married.
Right.
It is very different. It's not saying that this is insufficient or not, but this is different, ain't it?
But even the conversation you're having, you clearly have been taught, as we all have, that this thing is different and you should be looking for this other thing, right? There's something that is common. It's a common experience that we are all supposed to be partnered. We're all supposed to be like looking for this person that's special in a different way than your friends are and your family is. Like, there's this different place. And if you don't find it, then there's some incompleteness to your life. And what I'm saying is that there is no incompleteness to my life. I'm not looking for something that's different than what I have.
But Seth, I think you're imputing a whole bunch of cultural conversations onto this conversation.
I am.
And I don't know that those are. I don't know that one is equal to the other.
I don't think you can divorce them.
Okay.
Huh. They're telling me to wrap up because I totally want to quadruple tap right there.
You want to go in on
Okay. They said they're coming to preach this episode. Silent artist. Welcome to the back room. Okay. Last season I had an eye-opening. Cut that music, Max, please. Last season I had an eye-opening conversation with Devin Barrington Ward. At the time, he was running for Atlanta City Council and stopped by the back room to talk about being polyamorous and his relationship. Devin said some things as I've been thinking for a long time, talking about intention and agreements in relationships. Check this out.
You don't have to be polyamorous to engage in that level of intentionality as far as your relationship is concerned. But I do think that the style and the practice of loving through a polyamorous framework does require some level of introspection and to have some really thought-provoking conversations that with monogamous relationships are kind of not required because it's just assumed this way.
So I'm excited to announce that Devin Barrington Ward and his wife Penelope are expecting their first baby.
Congratulations.
I love Devin.
Congratulations to the young couple and their growing family. You can watch more in-depth interviews like this one or my nude interview with Mr. Censored by joining our YouTube channel. Members get access to exclusive conversations and behind-the-scenes content. Interestingly enough, that Mr. Censored interview got me a content strike on YouTube, but we're still going to do the things. Becoming a YouTube member is one of the easiest ways to support what we do here on Dear Black Gay Men. Just hit the join button below this episode. When we come back, we get to open and honest conversations with our guests as we talked about HIV and disclosure. This is Dating Dilemmas Explained, and we'll be right back. Let's make a cocktail.
But what do I get first, the tail or the cock?
We're having margaritas tonight, but tequila would have me naked on the internet, so we are going to be making brown apple margaritas that I call margaritas. You see what I did there? You like that? So I make this drink anytime I'm having a new boy come over to Netflix and chill. By Netflix and chill, I mean come out of their clothes so we can have sex. It's not when I want boys to come over and take off their clothes. It is when I want boys to come over so we can pray a little bit. It starts with a shaker, and you have to fill it up with ice. But here's the thing that I learned from bartenders. So you fill the shaker up with ice, and at the same time, fill up your glasses with ice too, so they can be chilled. So I'm gonna make margaritas for the room. My hands are clean. Don't do this if you've been fingering somebody. I filled up my shaker with ice, and you're gonna do equal parts brown apple whiskey. Y'all remember the girl when she was making a cocktail?
2 shots of vodka.
Equal parts brown apple whiskey. This is triple sec, which is like a citrus. And then sweetened lime juice. Now, the bougie girls will say you want to like squeeze lime. But when you are having a watch party on Thursday night watching Dear Black Gay Men and you're making a punch for a whole bunch of the girls, you're not going to be squeezing no fucking lime. So don't let nobody try to shame you out of using the cheap shit. Put that in the shaker and you shake. So I started Dear Black Gay Men because I got stood up for a date. But the thing is, it kind of grew into art therapy session, art kiki with the girls. Dear Black Gay Man for me is the best part of my week. And the upside of that is because we've created this platform, you all get to participate with us every single week. I'm really excited at the opportunities that y'all have created for us. But the reality is you can help us create even more of this content by joining our YouTube channel. And then you get to have cocktails with us all week. This is the Margarita. Taste it. Come in. Come on in. This is John. Cheers.
And I can agree with that.
Oh God, that took a long time. Okay. Welcome back to Dear Black Gay Man Podcast. We had a whole I feel like I was arguing a case between this goddamn commercial break. Okay.
He's a lawyer. He's a lawyer.
I
He's a
forgot.
lawyer.
Okay.
Accepted.
I'm supposed to be here. When, how, and with whom we share parts of ourselves, like Seth was talking about, whether it's coming out to family or being open with friends or navigating honesty in dating, disclosure is layered, nuanced, and deeply personal. For Black gay men, it's not just about sharing, it's about safety, acceptance, and self-worth in a world that often asks us to shrink. But what does it mean to disclose on our own terms, and how do we balance authenticity with self-protection? To help unpack it, without pressure, just truth, love, and understanding, because again, Seth had me arguing a court case during the break. But Dr. Death and Sayu are here in the back room. I will say, before we get to this topic, Seth finally said, "Oh, okay, I see what you're saying."
I still think you were wrong, but go ahead.
How you gonna say? See, this is where we gonna have to double tap on that goddamn conversation. Okay. So now, just to level set here. I am not living with HIV. Daniel, you have been very, very open about living with HIV. One thing that you said in our last show about that you were here for is you haven't been in a position where you dated somebody who like went to a doctor's appointment with you or things like that. So my first question is how can someone support you along your HIV journey, or is that even something you need from a romantic partner?
I don't really think I need that from a romantic partner. Again, I think my status is my status. I think in terms of sex, let's just go there.
In terms of sex, got it.
I've been undetectable my entire HIV perspective, right?
Got it.
STI speaking, like, baby, we got DoxyPep now. So, that's checked also. Regardless of those two things, I still get tested for sexually transmitted infections every other time I go to the doctor's office. So, like, the only thing that you really need in this conversation for me is, once I disclose to you, if you say anything other than bet, let's go, it's well, God bless you,
Has there ever been a time, is that because you are so far along in your HIV journey that it's such a small part of your life?
Yes, and it's so many other people, just like the Jets is going to land in Atlanta.
Yes.
At Hartsfield Jackson. Baby, it's people waiting to like have sex and like try to shoot their shot.
I know that's right.
Okay.
So what the people said, one monkey ain't gonna stop the show.
But I do think that there are people are in the comments that talk about it all the time, how HIV for some people is a really big part of either their life or the other person's life. Do you experience that, Seth? Like, is HIV, now granted enough, we are not assuming your status, and I'm not assuming you are living with or not, but in culture, just as a Black gay person, Black queer person, is HIV a huge part of the conversation you have, or is it non-existent?
So it's interesting, like so I was a 90s baby.
We all are.
Wasn't born in the 90s, but I grew up in the 90s, and so
I'm about to say I grew up in the 90s.
yeah,
I did too.
exactly. I the relationship as a Black gay man with HIV and AIDS has morphed into something that is so different than it was when I was young.
What do you mean?
When you growing up in the 90s in New York, I had one. It was just like a matter of fact. It was like, okay, it wasn't like if I will become HIV positive. It was like when I become HIV positive, right? Like, because that was just everybody I knew around me had that experience. And back then it was like, okay, well, once you get HIV, you got 3 years and then you are going to die.
Yes, in the 90s. Yeah,
you know that. I mean, that's just what it was. And I watched people die. And so the fear attached to becoming HIV positive and the fact that I wasn't out at the time, so watching how straight people around me, my family members and stuff, would deal with people who had HIV. You know, you come to the house and then when they leave, they be real nice and they leave and they throw all the dishes away that they touched and throw all the if you wash your face.
Says, he talking facts. 90s was so different than today.
Yeah.
Because
I think it depends on where you are today. So like your conversation happens inside of like city proper Atlanta still.
That's crazy to me.
Like it's on every Twitter, it's on Instagrams, you know, and even as soon as like we leave the metro and get to those places where you don't see gay people, like you see gay people here in Atlanta.
Yeah.
Like it's that. You know, it's like folks still only eating off of styrofoam plates, like their family is bleaching down everything. You know, it's we are still right there, even though we've had, you know, so many modern treatments, you know.
And especially, I mean, you think about the fact that like growing up in the 90s, you watch people get HIV and die in 3 years. I don't even know the last person I knew who passed away from HIV or AIDS. Like that's just not. It's not a reality.
I do.
So
do you?
And let me say, in the last 5 years here in Georgia, okay, 3,000 Black people have died with HIV.
Really?
3,000.
So
Since 2018.
So I don't know if it. Then I don't know. Well, I don't know the statistics, right? Like, I don't know if it.
I'm here for that.
You know, yes, please.
Hold
let
on.
me know.
Oh, here you go.
Okay, but go ahead.
And, you know, in terms of like what they. I know the advancements in medication have made it such that people are living much, much longer lives than they lived when we were in the 90s, and much more comfortable lives than people were living in, you know, back when I was young. I'm still young, you know, virtually. But
I'm young.
You
Proudly.
are.
Yes.
You are.
I'm young. Like at heart and in my body. But this black ain't cracking.
I bet you can.
But
do
keep going.
You know, it's just, I don't know. It's to me, it's just, the world is just very different when just engaging HIV. I'm not HIV positive. I never really had a fear of dating men who were HIV positive. One of my first boyfriends was HIV positive. I found out because he like accidentally butt dialed me. He was talking to his aunt and was like, I really like him, but you know, I'm HIV positive. I don't know what to do. And I had to, like, next day called him. Was like, hey, you butt dialed me. We should probably go to talk about what you said.
You ain't dumped him, did you?
I did not.
Okay.
He dumped me, but you know, that's neither here nor there. But yeah, it was just something that
kind of missed out on that one, didn't he?
Listen, he fumbled that bag, baby.
He fumbled that one.
Listen, I hope he's, hey, Edwin. But no, like that, you know, it's just something that it never scared me then, and it definitely doesn't scare me now in terms of like interaction or, you know, or sexual interaction or dating somebody who's HIV positive.
Okay.
You know, what bothers me is that there's just not enough education. And even in 2016, so when I was in law school, I did the HIV and AIDS clinic at Duke, where we got to actually do
Light
real,
flex.
Light flex. I'm smart.
You got your degree, and you know every fucking thing.
Got it. I needed to get that in there somewhere. Go ahead.
But like that, I remember going to the medical clinic to visit the doctors and finding out that you could, if you were undetectable, if you took the medication, you were undetectable, that it was almost impossible for you.
It is impossible.
Undetectable
Yep.
equals
You equals you.
Oh, and I
You
was like,
equals you.
well, I said, well, people don't know
Untransmittable.
that because I had a friend who lived with so much guilt thinking he gave his boyfriend HIV and was undetectable the whole time they were together. And the boyfriend made him feel like he was the person that gave him HIV.
No,
Okay,
baby, that,
well,
that was an outside.
Okay, so
it's just-
hold on,
Uh-oh.
because there is a question. John B in the comments, he says, but is that 3,000 undetectable or without treatment or just in general?
So great question,
That is
John B.
because you are asking about statistics, I would not give Dr. Driffin the button, but go ahead.
So that's a great question, John B. So honestly, the breakdown from the Georgia Department of Public Health does not tell us that information. It just leaves it as Black people with HIV. Again, when we think about more times than not, if you are undetectable, your immune system is stronger. Therefore, you shouldn't have like a opportunistic or an outside illness that would like progress to death. You know, so more times, and again, like even. Don't hit me with the button. Even when we think about when Black people learn that they're living with HIV here in our state, 3 out of 4 of those people already have a level 4 HIV diagnosis. So they're being diagnosed with an AIDS defining illness from jump. Okay. And that's where your CD4 cells is underneath 200 or have syphilis, have, CMV, those illnesses that we traditionally would not see today with modern medicine. But again, because folks have been living with HIV untreated for so long, their body is already broken down to that place.
Okay. So because I do not want to double tap on statistics, I don't want this to be a PowerPoint presentation. I do have questions that I would like, because the two of you have two very different perspectives. Someone living with, someone not living with. Seth, you have already said that you don't know someone who has died because of HIV complications recently.
A very long time.
I do. Daniel, I'm sure you do. So I think this is a great place to say, to talk about a totally different topic, related but not related. Like when we trying to fuck, are you asking the girls? Do you see or hear or receive people curious about HIV status, like when it's about to go down? I've asked Daniel this question, and I know the answer for me because it just does not come up anymore. Does it come up for you?
No, it doesn't come up. It's just not something we talk about.
But
not something I talk about.
But I think that answer for you, so knowing your story, I think that answer is different, being that you are a Black gay man who's been on PrEP for more than a decade now.
11 years.
So sex is different. You come into the inner state of sex at a different place than what I would just put the average Black queer black man having sex, Don't know your sexual journey. Don't go. Okay.
That was for me, but go ahead.
It's driving down the interstate. It's one of those signs. Okay. Girl, all lanes blocked. Girl, let me get off the interstate.
Got it.
Okay.
Got it.
So knowing his journey,
Yeah.
I say all that to say 90% of the people who receive a PrEP prescription are white men.
Yeah.
90%.
There was a wow in the room for people who can't hear.
So that means so if you were to have sex with 10 people, 9 of those people, okay, with the PrEP prescription basically would be a white man. If you only have sex with Black men, okay? Like we don't have we don't have the PrEP. We don't have enough
That's
PrEP
me.
in that circle.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's all that I think we really have to sit the conversation in. So it's awareness, but even with knowledge and awareness, the medical providers are not writing enough scripts for people who look like us in this room.
Really?
When I went to get PrEP, when I went to get on PrEP, this was probably 10 years ago. The doctor was an older white lady, and she was adamant that this did not stop other STIs. And I was like,
Which it doesn't.
Right. I was like, I know that.
But the conversation is different. That's my experience.
Yeah. And I remember going to her, and I was like, I wanted to get on PrEP, and she was like, well, just, you can get on PrEP, but this, it doesn't stop you from getting other STIs. And I was like, I know what this does. And she was like, well, we're going to have to swab your anus. And I was like, well, I said I'm a top. I don't bottom. I've never bottom. And she was like, oh, well, we still have to. And I was like, well, I don't know why you would have to do that.
So I have the same story with a totally different context. I've been going to the same doctor. At the time, I was going to the same doctor for like 8 years. And now I'm not a total top. And my provider, she knows me. Right. She knows me. And it was one of those times where I was like, I don't think I've bottoms. And she's like, okay, we're going to do this, honey. And it was so warm and affirming that she was like, oh, okay. But
this was not warm or affirming.
So put that question back up real quick.
Before we jump into questions, so thinking about PrEP, right? Mm-hmm. Regardless of your sexual positioning, okay, the recommendations is triple site STI testing regardless. Because again, you can have
triple site. Unpack that.
Triple site. Okay, so anywhere you can have sex at, so your mouth, your butt, your dick, right? Mm-hmm. You should be tested at those 3 spots because you can. Let's say you've been sucking dick or eating ass, right? You can have gonorrhea or chlamydia in the back of your throat, but if you pee in a cup, it won't show positive. So that's why triple site testing is important, regardless of how you get fucked or how you do the fucking. Can you do the bending button?
Do I still have that button? Do I still have that button? Yes. Okay.
I come here too often.
We'll come back. Okay, Justin in the comments, that's a great picture, Justin. Justin says, how long do undetectable individuals remain undetectable? If they miss a dosage of prescribed medicine, does that make them more detectable?
Great question, Justin. So not going into all this science, meds work amazing, okay? All right. It's recommended you do not miss meds. The more meds you miss, the higher that you do not stay undetectable. But again, like even when we think about some people now living with HIV take injectable treatment, so rather than swallowing,
you said living with HIV, I'm on PrEP.
Rather than swallowing, like me, rather than swallowing a pill, I just get my treatment in basically my hips, So as long as I don't miss, my injections, I will remain undetectable, outside of like hepatitis B scare, hepatitis C scare, something like that. So long story short, swallow the pills, remain undetectable. But again, that's a conversation with your doctors.
And you're able to say that artfully because you've been here so long and have gotten the button so many times. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you.
What do the button sound like? That?
I've got several buttons, but since you got your degree,
and you know every fucking thing.
He has 1,000 degrees. That's the problem. I mean, also smart. The solution, but that's been the problem.
Smart, Dr. Daniel.
Okay. After the break, we dive into when is the right time to open up emotionally. But during the break, let me know. Okay, this is Dating Dilemmas. Explain. We ain't never had a conversation this good.
Start fighting and it's over. Nothing. Like, why?
Nothing was off limits. What do you look for? Top thing, first thing. You scrolling on the apps and you like, how has HIV impacted your daily life? Then it got a little petty.
Worked the same way that the negative hole worked. I said,
celebrating National Black HIV/AIDS Awareness Day. It's the HIV Talk on your Black Gay Men podcast. What up, dog? I am Jay the Gentleman, and I host all the craziness that happens right here in the back room. As far as I know, we are the only queer-led podcast that has its own studio in Atlanta, and we party in the back room. We have a Kiki in the back room.
Get that gooch licked on or something. Like, figure it out.
We have a cocktail. That's what she said. And we grow in the back room. Every time y'all are here, every time you're here, you say something that I'm just like, that really happens? If you're in the Atlanta area, you want to join us in the back room, visit dearblackgaymen.com/tickets to see what live shows and events we have coming up right here in the back room. Stitches. Okay, we're live from the back room right here on Dear Black Gay Men Podcast. I am Jay the Gentleman. Before the break, I didn't get a chance to ask this question, so we're just going to skip over it. But now that we hear from...
Wait a minute.
Now it is time to play one of my new favorites on here in the back room. This is time for... Are we ready? Are you ready?
I am.
This is appropriate or off base. Hit it. Yes, we do.
As we go
Yes,
into
we
baseball
do.
season.
This is how appropriate or off base works. Oh, can you hear me? Okay, this is how appropriate or off base works. I'll say a question, and you'll let me know if it's appropriate, meaning you like it, or off base, meaning get somebody else to do it. You got it?
Mm-hmm.
Appropriate, meaning you like it. Off base, get somebody else to do it. For those of us watching, tap into the comments and let us know if you think these are appropriate or off base. Y'all ready to play?
I'm ready.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I'm supposed to clear you. Very good. All right. Hanging a picture of your new boo that you have never been intimate with in your home. Appropriate or off base, Daniel?
Who do that?
What?
Who would do that?
You in your house hanging a picture of somebody. You've never done the things, but
What? No.
If I came into
Off
somebody's house
No.
and I was dating and they had a picture of me up,
Maybe that's
That
a
would be the
stalker or
last
something,
thing.
baby. Yeah.
because
Like,
where would they get the
where would
picture
you get the
from? Where would they get the picture from? Okay, sharing your love language on the second date.
weird.
Seth, appropriate or off base?
my love. No, that's appropriate. You should.
That's
tell your love
appropriate.
language.
What is your love language?
Yeah. A physical touch.
You like to cuddle?
You got to touch me, baby.
Okay, making time for someone that you are dating even though you're super busy. That's a good one for you, Daniel. Appropriate or off base?
Appropriate.
How much time do you make for them?
How much time they need?
Like, are you-
If
are
we're
you-
gonna do it, we're gonna do it.
There's that meme that says dating over 30 is, are we doing this or not? Are you at that at that stage yet?
Friend.
Are we doing this or
I
not?
want to be able to do that key change and two hands to heaven, baby. I've been waiting my whole life. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Seth, asking a person you're dating what meds they're on. Appropriate or off base?
No, that's weird.
You think so?
Yeah. I mean, it depends on how long we've been dating. Like, we on a first date, like, hey, what meds are you on? Like,
Okay,
nah, dude,
first date.
That's weird.
I think that is weird. What about you, Daniel?
I don't know. I think you can have a meaningful and respectful conversation and discuss meds. Because you can discuss like if you're on PrEP or not. If you're living with HIV, I think you can do it. It depends
It's
on
a
your
way.
intention.
You got to do it a certain way. Like, you can't just, like, what med you on? Like,
Yeah,
that's just
yeah.
weird. It's a weird question.
Yeah. It's intention. I think it's the intention.
I do think that. So I think that someone disclosing their status to me on the first date, absolutely appropriate. I would not go.
You said
past,
disclosing?
yes,
Absolutely appropriate.
appropriate for a first date. Yes.
Okay.
I wouldn't go
Yeah.
farther than that on the first date.
Okay.
I'd come back to a second date and be like, "Hey, let's double tap here."
Okay.
And I enjoy the "what meds are you on" conversation because I don't know a single person living with HIV who couldn't tell you what meds they're on. Like they read the bottle or you know.
And not, everyone is not created equally,
No.
but they
I
know they're
couldn't tell
on
you.
meds.
But the irony is, I'm well enough educated that if you told me it's an orange pill or it's a blue pill or if it's a shot or two shots, like I can piece
would not
it
know that.
together.
I would not know that.
But that's because I'm in the bubble though.
I think you had, like, I had a guy, I was on a first date, and I remember he called me after the first date, and I had a cold, and he was like, "Oh, are you okay?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm just sick. I'm not feeling good." And he was like, "Do you have hepatitis?"
Wow.
I was like, what?
Okay.
Now that's
What?
that's
So
aggressive.
aggressive.
Oh, it was just so weird. I was
That's
like,
aggressive.
Why
what?
hepatitis?
I was like, "Do you have hepatitis?" like, where did this question even come from? Like, it was just a very odd. I was like, "All right, you're
That
weird.
is super
We're not-
aggressive.
not
Are we
gonna-
are we ready? Okay. Next one. Oh, this is the one they had. Ignoring calls every once in a while to keep them guessing. Daniel.
what's the option? Oh,
Appropriate
off base.
or off base?
Boo, off base.
Ignoring calls every once in a while to keep them on their toes.
Oh, I mean, they think I'd be doing that. I'd really be busy though.
I mean, you are a lawyer, so
I mean,
there's
yeah.
that. All right, what's the next one? Having unprotected sex when undetectable. Seth, appropriate or off base?
I think that's fine.
You know, I don't like the word unprotected. It should be condomless. So having condomless sex when undetectable.
You see how we did that?
Yeah.
We opened the door for you. Because I read the script. I know the words. We opened the door for you to say that.
I wrote the song, Ike. I wrote the song, Ike.
Okay, introducing your friends to someone you're dating within a month. Appropriate or off base, Seth?
I think that's okay. You can come meet my friends. Because if my friends don't like you, then I probably can't rock with you.
Okay, that takes me back to the whole conversation we had in the first segment, so I ain't gonna double tap there. But what about you, Daniel? Appropriate or off base?
Appropriate. I do that.
Like, do y'all have levels of friends? Like, you have like my Bulldog Sunday night friends, and then my actual friends, and then like here, and then my family.
Of course.
I only got 5 friends in Atlanta. We go to each other's house multiple times a week.
Yes.
We come by. And you included on the Sunday friends. And baby, that's checked off.
So if they make the cut,
hey.
If they make the cut, they end like Flint. Got it.
Know.
I love it.
All right. Sharing that they are ethically non-monogamous after y'all have already slept together. Appropriate or off base, Daniel?
Appropriate.
I'm ethically non-monogamous, so.
What does that mean for you?
It means I'm not in search of a traditional monogamous heteronormative relationship.
Is monogamy in every sense heteronormative to you?
No.
Or is there a version of monogamy that is absolutely for the girls?
It's
maybe not for you, but for gay people.
No, I think monogamy is a choice. Like, you can make that choice. And I'm not even saying that I would never make that choice. I'm just not looking for that. If something came along and I was like, oh, no, this makes way more sense just for it to be me and you, then I would be open to it, but I
don't think I'm open to it.
Yeah, I'm not looking for it at all.
Like monogamy, like box
you're not
on
looking
the shelf.
for. What are you not looking for? I'm a little confused.
Monogamy, my relationship, any relationship after this last one that didn't happen the way when I realized that I'm not good at this. I was like, all right, well, I'm out.
You're not good at what?
Dating, relationship, in any traditional sense. Like, it's
okay,
like,
I got it.
It's like, oh, I'm trying to wear somebody else's clothes. This is not for me.
That's good. That's the t-shirt. What about you? Daniel already said. Okay, asking if the person you're dating is on PrEP. Appropriate or off base?
Appropriate.
I think it's fine.
Clearly, I agree. I've been on PrEP since I can remember. Not since I can remember, but I've been on PrEP a long periodically time. All right, that was appropriate or off base. Yay! All right, that was appropriate off base. Hope y'all learned something from this, or at least had a good laugh, because Seth is always good for a laugh. After the break, we will chat with a physician and HIV advocate to learn some ways that we can uplift those with HIV while reducing stigma. But during the break, let me know in the comments, when was the last time you were truly vulnerable in a relationship? That's a good question. All right, this is Dating Dilemmas, and we'll be right back. We ain't never had a conversation this good.
Start fighting and it's over nothing. Like, why?
Nothing was off limits. What do you look for? Top thing, first thing. You scrolling on the apps and you like, how has HIV impacted your dating life? Then it got a little petty.
Worked the same way that the negative hole worked. But I said,
celebrating National Black HIV/AIDS Awareness Day. It's the HIV Talk on Dear Black Gay Men podcast. What up, though? I am Jay the Gentleman, and I host all the craziness that happens right here in the back room. As far as I know, we are the only queer-led podcast that has its own studio in Atlanta, and we party in the back room. We have a Kiki in the back room.
Get that gooch licked on or something.
We have a cocktail in the back room.
Oh, that's really good.
That's what she said. And we grow in the back room. Every time y'all are here, every time you're here, you say something that I'm just like, that really happens? If you're in the Atlanta area, you want to join us in the back room, visit dearblackgaymen.com/tickets to see what events we have coming up.
I'll do a little bullet too.
Okay. Oh, my bad. I have not been back on these breaks. My bad, everybody, for y'all watching. Okay, we're live for the back room. I am Jay the Gentleman. Before the break, I asked, when was the last time you felt truly vulnerable in a relationship? We got comments coming in.
I want to know why. Aaron
Okay,
didn't feel
Terry
this. Go ahead.
says, I have a hard time understanding the reason to get into a relationship and not be monogamous instead of remaining single and just having sex with whoever you desire. Okay, Terry, I want to double tap there. I hope you're still here. Like, you're saying that you only see monogamy as appropriate?
No, I don't.
Is that for you or in general? What are you saying there?
Can you put that?
Put that comment back up.
I understand what he's saying. Like I think it, but I think that it's just fundamentally flawed. Like the reasoning is flawed. Like he's saying, and I think that's what most people do, right? It's like, why am I dating you if we're not going to be monogamous? If it's not just going to be me and you, otherwise I just should be single and just have sex with whoever I want to, as if that's the only way to express.
Okay,
like,
now in
only
that
way
sense, I
relationships
absolutely
exist.
agree. Because in my head, what I am reacting to about this particular comment is, I love how he tried to hide it, but I don't take ownership over my partner's body, around his his sexuality, over how he expresses himself. Like, I still think that you're a whole human being, and for me, I would much rather encourage you to do that in a way that respects what we're building together, as opposed to discourage you from doing anything.
Yeah.
Because the highest expression of love, the way you show me you love me, is not that no one ever touches you again for the rest of your life, right? And I've watched people do this, where they get into a situation and they're like, he cheated on me. Everything we had was a lie. He never loved me. It's like, no, he was horny. Like he has sex with somebody else. That doesn't negate what you all have. It doesn't negate the relationship you were in together. Like, so you can have, and I remember Duran Bernard said this. He was like, you can have steak at home every single day. Sometimes I want a Frosty, and ain't no damn Frosty machine in here. And some days I just want a fucking Frosty. That's it.
But sometimes,
and that don't mean I don't like steak.
You want steak at a steakhouse.
Absolutely. You
But
can be
again,
everything to a man except somebody else. Sometimes
hold
he
on,
just
Terry
needs to be somebody
says, I don't see the benefit of being in a relationship if I'm not the only person you choose to give your body to.
See, y'all gotta stop this. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Oh Lord. Baby, y'all
That's
think
grandma's
y'all own
rules.
people. You don't own nobody.
You don't.
Like, put it back up, please. I feel like I'm at the church house, honey. Put the word back up, somebody.
Put that scripture back up there.
Choose. If I'm not
Verse
the
12
only
says,
person you choose to give your body to,
Nah.
you don't own me.
Hey, that's what I'm talking about, Rolando.
Rolando DD is one of our faves.
I love Rolando.
That is true.
Or they, I don't know your pronouns, but monogamy is rooted in slavery.
Mm-hmm.
I
can see that.
I believe that okay.
You don't own me.
They actually told me to hurry up. My bad, everybody. Okay. HIV doesn't define a person, but stigma can shape how the world sees them. And that's something we have the power to change. I have with me Dr. Ulysses Burley of You Be the Cure to explore what real support looks like and how we can challenge harmful narratives and the role we play in creating a world where brothers, lovers, and friends living with HIV are seen, valued, and embraced without shame. Please welcome to the show, Dr. Ulysses Burley. Doc.
What up, Doc?
How are you doing, Doc?
Hey, y'all. What's going on?
So, Doc, this conversation has been off the rails today. We have touched on monogamy and friendships and all of that, but I don't want to lose sight of the fact that we are observing HIV is not a crime day. Now, I will tell you that this is now the third year in a row that we have observed this day here on the show, and I'm still appalled at the fact that this has to be a day in the first place, that we are criminalizing people's bodies. We're obviously that we know that HIV is not a crime, but why do you think there's this pervasive norm around criminalization in our culture? And now, acknowledging that you are speaking as a physician, so
Yeah.
I just want to weigh in on the lives of people living with HIV from your perspective.
Yeah. So first of all, thank you for allowing me to invade y'all's queer space.
Yes, because you are not one of the girls, so I want to make before people dive into the DMs talking about who was the man with deep voice.
I saw that spell show. I was like, okay,
so
he is not one of the girls.
y'all over y'all's. Yeah, I put y'all over y'all's allowable straight.
Got it.
For the day. But I think first and foremost, HIV is inextricably linked to sex.
Yes.
And I think one of the reasons why Dear Black Gay Men exists and why it's such a popular, growing conversation space is because it talks about what we have talking about, and that's sex, regardless of if it's straight sex or gay sex or whatever sex. We have issues talking about sex and sexuality, and because HIV is inextricably linked to sex and sexuality, it's automatically stigmatized in that way. When you add the additional layer that HIV disproportionately impacts Black and brown people, then it complicates the conversation, right? Because we've already been hypersexualized. We've already been reduced down to what our bodies can't do, not even sexually, but how fast can you run? How can you jump? That's how good can you dance, right? And so I think all of these issues that don't have anything to do with us as Black people is the foundation for HIV being criminalized, and is rooted in stigma, right? Dr. Daniel's been on the show many times to talk about all the advancements we've made in HIV science and medical research to a point to where, HIV stigma now kills more people than HIV. And if we cured HIV tomorrow, there would still lingering stigma that exists around sex and sexuality, around identity, that implicates people who are vulnerable to HIV, that would lead to some other health disparity. Because again, we still have these issues around sex and sexual. So I think the big part of it is, how HIV is primarily transmitted and acquired. And our issues as a society with, something that is natural and God-given cannot be understated.
Now I could quadruple tap because I know a whole bunch of the intersections that you sit at, but we're not going to do that because we could be here for a whole nother hour at unpacking what you just said. But I will add, I do want to add the girls into the conversation. I mean, the girls and men into the conversation. Like, don't we do that to ourselves though? Don't we hypersexualize and fetishize each other? Because I can tell you all the times I'm on the apps and the people only want a man with a big dick, or they only want a man over 6 feet, or they only want this or that, or all the things. Don't we do that to ourselves? Exactly what Dr. Burley is saying that culture does to us.
But I think we do that to ourselves due to the environment that we sit in.
What do you mean?
From the time that we are socialized, I believe gay, queer people are seen as sexual deviants.
Okay.
And because if you come to the conversation at the age of 6, 7, whenever, okay, and you have always heard gay people have more sex, gay people are perceived to be pedophiles. They use words like when we think about our trans-identified siblings, they think of like transsexuals. So because we operate within an environment in society sees us as sexual deviants, I think we are just playing into it, and we don't realize that we're playing into it.
I would take it. But there's a lot of us don't realize that we're more than that.
And but I think also the reason that society sees us as sexual deviants is because, and it's particularly directed at gay men. Lesbian women don't see the same kind of stigma in society, because this is an attack on masculinity. We deify masculinity in this society because we hate women. We're misogynistic, like just as a society. And so anything that we align with femininity, and people align homosexuality with femininity, and so men being gay is an attack on the masculine, and that's why I think we see so much. And even if you look at it, even within the paradigm of sexuality, men who are masculine presenting are of much higher value in our community than people who are feminine presenting, and because we create that hierarchy, right? Like Trey walk in the room and it's like everybody. Ooh,
you can walk in the room.
Oh yeah, when I walk in the room, and no shade, I ain't the hottest one, but I do have to be masculine presenting. It's very rare that I don't get what I want when I walk in the room, because people value masculinity in a way that they don't value femininity. I think that's inherently flawed in society, but it's just what it is.
Okay, Dr. Burley, I want to tap you. What were you going to say? And then I got questions.
Yeah, I want to push back a bit on your initial question about self stigmatizing, self fetishizing. I don't believe that people or Black men or Black queer people are any more sexual than other people. I just believe that society ties our sexuality in ways that they don't other people. And this is saying this as a cis heteronormative person who has been in spaces with other cis folks, white folks, and I can tell you that they that they fetishize and sexualize everything to an extent. Society just accepts it. It's acceptable behavior from them. It's not acceptable behavior from us. And so I just want to push back on the fact that we do it to ourselves, or that the queer community does it to themselves. I think society just puts a magnifying glass on Black people, queer people, and then queer Black people in a way that they don't other groups.
But I think it's the sex too, right? Like you look at, even as a doctor, the disease is like STIs, right? Why do you get upset? Like people will get very upset that they have herpes, like cry because you got herpes. Herpes is a skin disorder. But you don't cry when you get eczema, right? Nobody's weird about the fact that you got eczema, but they're super weird about that you got herpes because it's sexually transmitted. And we're weird about anything that has to do with sex. There's shame attached to it. There's like, why is cancer different than, any other sexually transmitted disease that you get? People, there's no shame attached to it because it's not attached to sex. But when it's attached to sex, is weird.
I do think that's what Dr. Burley is saying, is that our broader culture is, as you say, is weird about our bodies, ourselves, broader culture. I don't want to be stigmatizing here, but sexualize us. Rolando DD says, but the crazy thing is chastity is sexual deviance at its finest, and they've made it biblical. Now, hold on, I can't double tap on that right now because my spirit is thinking.
How do we activate like an extra 15 minutes? Do we need to make a motion or something? Can I make a motion to go 15 extra minutes?
The whole team over there is holding up a whiteboard that says, hurry up. Okay, Doc.
Don't tell us what to do.
I mean, I am here with 2 doctors and a lawyer, so ironically, we're going to go long.
I'm a lawyer.
Dr. Burley, I want to ask you, because you are here to deliver 3 ways that we can reduce stigma about HIV. I hear that you've paired some points for us without going to PowerPoint-y. What's one way that we can reduce stigma around HIV?
Yeah, so I think the first way is knowing your status. And you say, well, how does knowing my status reduce HIV stigma? I think it helps to normalize the conversation around HIV as a health issue and nothing more than that. I am married. I've been for a long time. And every time I go to the doctor, I got my annual. I tell the doctor, give me the full STD panel and an HIV test. And I say "and" because for those of you who don't know, HIV isn't included in the traditional STI panel. And so if you don't know that and you say, give me the full STI panel, and you go in and you think you got tested for HIV, you probably didn't. So make sure you also request an HIV test.
Now, hold on right there, because one thing that I find so interesting is, and I'm asking you this particularly because you are a service provider, you are a medical professional. In my head, and again, I'm okay being the oddball and being wrong about this, but it feels like HIV is a commonplace conversation among Black queer men. Is it not? Am I wrong? Am I the drama?
Yeah, you're the drama.
You are the drama.
The girls ain't talking about HIV?
They are not. Nobody's talking about HIV.
Dr. Burley, the girls ain't talking about HIV?
I don't know.
Oh, I mean.
Dr.
Burley said, I'm out.
It was the hands up for me.
He talking to you.
It's above me now. It's above me now.
But even thinking about medical providers, and Dr. Burley can, attest to this. So like more times than not, medical providers wait for their patients to talk about sex. On
They
the
ain't
flip
talking about
side,
HIV either.
and they're not talking about HIV. And on the flip side, patients are waiting for their medical providers to talk to them about sex. So literally, we're sitting here on this exam room just
with a damn pink elephant in the room.
I've been waiting on my parents to talk about sex for the last 40 years. Ain't nobody said nothing to me.
Well,
still don't know.
let me be clear. My parents could never comment on the kind of sex I have now. So there's that.
saw the video.
Okay. So
yeah,
I holla at your boy A said they're not. They're not. This is legitimately news to me. Like I did not know. I'm thinking all of us, all of the girls, especially the black ones.
No,
Nobody's
you
having
weren't.
that conversation.
You don't got a button for use a dummy, bitch.
Whoa.
I don't know if I like any of your tone.
Whoa.
But no, I don't have any buttons that work on me, Daniel. Okay, Doc. What is another way? Panther says the girls be looking at me. Hold on, the girls be looking at me with a deer in the headlights when talking about HIV, PrEP, and Doxy. Now, Panthro, again,
Bring him to the show.
When you gonna come on the show, Panthro?
Bring him to the show.
But back to my points, because they have a whiteboard over there. What is another way we can reduce stigma? The first is knowing your status. What's the second one?
Yeah, the second one is putting your money toward HIV and HIV prevention. And so, I always say if you want to know what somebody cares about, look at their bank account, look at their budget,
Talk to us.
look at their anything that has to do with money. And so we're in a situation now where there's not enough funding for HIV.
No,
and
damn sure not.
We are under threats of more cuts and devastated at this point. And so people are not going to be able to rely on the traditional resource and safety nets that they have to access HIV prevention, treatment, and care. That means that they're going to be looking toward community-based organizations, HIV service organizations to fill those gaps. And those organizations are already over capacity and underfunded and under-resourced. And so we need to, we got this blackout tomorrow. Don't spend any money. Whatever money you're going to save for tomorrow, that directed towards a local HIV service organization that's either Black-led or that services majority Black and brown people. Because while you might not be a vocal activist or advocate, that's a way to show your support for people living with and impacted by HIV by putting up your dollar. And so knowing your status, funding local HIV movements.
Especially
and
now.
I think that
Especially now.
Right.
Now, if I could double tap right there, Doc, I will say that several organizations in Atlanta, across the South, across the country, across the globe have been impacted by changes since January 20th. And the changes have come without notice, without warning, and oftentimes without a whole lot of planning or preparation behind them. And that has just left organizations not only in the lurch financially, but that has left people in the lurch medically. Services that they were counting on, HIV tests for unborn children, for themselves, for their people in their lives. And the unfortunate part about it is we don't know when this is going to happen. 4 years is not long, is not a short period of time. But also, we don't know how much of this damage is irrevocable. I think I saw a statistic that talked about the number of babies that were born with HIV because of some executive order that came out of nowhere. And I don't want to get all in bays and whatnot, because we hear talking on Dear Black Gay Men, but the decisions that impact us don't only impact us. That's what I think is so salient about what you're saying, Doc.
And I talked about this on.
Go ahead, Doc.
Which one? Me?
Oh, you don't.
Oh yeah, there's more than one doctor. My bad. Go ahead, Dr. Burley.
And then I think the third thing, and this is more of a nod to my own personal cause. So I'm a physician, but I'm also a minister, and I do.
Hold on, you broke up. You're also a
minister. Can you hear me?
I wanted to make sure we got that in there. I know that, but go
you
ahead.
know they love
Okay,
Jesus here,
all right.
honey.
Yes.
Hallelujah.
And so I do work at the intersection in HIV and public health, and I'm clear that a lot of the stigmatization around HIV has manifested from bad theology, has manifested from bad faith. I'm also clear that while majority of our country is moving away from traditional identification with religion and worship spaces, that majority of our country still identifies with some level of believing in God or higher being or higher power. And that means that they look to God to guide their daily morality, their moral compass, how they feel about the world, what's right and wrong, particularly in the South, and even more so among Black people who are more likely to attend worship, more likely to take, sacred texts as fact and not anything they debated. And so we've got to stop moralizing and theologizing a medical epidemic. It's not a condemnation by God against people. It's not a punishment. It's not a punishment. It is not a condemnation. And we've got to stop using God, using theology to harm people and to hurt people. And we've got to start using it for what it was created for, to loving people and to affirming people. And that's really the crux of the stigma and discrimination. And it's why I do the work in the way that I do it, because I believe, because faith and more specifically, bad faith has been so instrumental in stigmatizing HIV, criminalizing people who are vulnerable to HIV, that we are in a special position to destigmatize and decriminalize it. And so we got to just lead with love. We've got to stop making caricatures of the LGBTQ plus community.
Come on.
I grew up in a generation where, if you wanted to really, get at somebody, you was like, man, that's gay. And and now it's, no homo, and we pausing everything. And I know it's tongue in cheek, but that's gay. Well, that's not necessarily an insult. Right. And so we've got to stop treating identity as kind of hierarchical.
Hold on, Doc, because let me add some context here. Like, the reason why this is so important coming from you specifically is because you are presumed to be straight, masculine identifying, medical professional, educated, and a faith leader. So to hear you say that matters. That's a big effing, I would say the word, but you're a minister, so I ain't going. But it's a big deal to hear that from you and someone in your position. So I would take my hat off, but my hair ain't done. But my proverbial hat is off to you, and I respect and appreciate the fact that you brought that to this space, because it's not, because I would wager that there's probably way more people that are on the opposite side of the conversation than there are people who are willing to stand in the gap for those who walk and talk and look like me and Daniel and Seth, that look like you. So shout out to you.
I appreciate y'all and for y'all having these conversations. And thanks for letting me check in every now and then.
Of course, you are welcome here anytime in the back room. I mean, I don't know if you've ever been in the back room, but
Go to the commercial. Go to the commercial.
I don't know what kind of question.
All right, I think that is a great place to take a break. Y'all ready for a break? Yeah. All right, we'll be right back.
Y'all are wild.
Whew. We ain't. show got good. I thought I was spicy vanilla, but tonight I've learned I'm deep into the extremist end of the kink freak spectrum. Then it got even better. Nutted. They asked me if he could pee in me, and I was nervous. What did it feel like? But it felt good. Live from the back room every Thursday on YouTube. All right, I would like to thank my guests, Dr. Daniel, Seth, and Dr. Burley. If you want to slide in any of their DMs and score your... That's not right. But if you want to...
Do it again, Dr. Burley. Nah, not
I don't know
one.
if that's the right word.
Not this one.
But if you want to connect with any of them, or if you need services at UB The Cure, you can connect with any of them. Their socials are in the description. All right, we spent the whole hour and 19 minutes talking about the lives of people living with HIV to observe HIV is not a crime day. But let's put this conversation in context. The other day, someone asked me why we talk about HIV so much, which is funny because when we started Dear Black Gay Men, people would ask me, why don't I talk about HIV at all? The truth is, I'm not living with HIV. So for every drug and disease-free or clean and UB2 or whatever stigmatizing conversation that persists among Black gay men on the apps and in real life, that is my call to action that we need to talk about HIV. Not a disease, not a diagnosis, but about people. Real people with wants and desires. Y'all missed that one. Real people seeking love and connection that just happen to be living with HIV. We will stop talking about HIV when culture allows us to stop talking about HIV. Until then, dear Black gay men, we're going to continue to remind you of how dope it is to be Black gay men who love Black gay men. Positive diagnosis or not. That was our show. I am Jay. Thank you. Remember, we're reading 100 Boyfriends by Brontes Fernellis right here this season on the Band Book Club. Make sure you follow us on IG at Dear Black Gay Men and join the BBC broadcast channel to get your copy. We've got new content every day, and we go live on YouTube Thursdays at 8 p.m. Next week, we'll ask how long should the talking face last? And
30 days.
We're talking to someone who believes in dating for years with no title, and another who got married after 10 days. It's about to go up right here in the back room. I am Jay the Gentleman. This has been Dear Black Gay Men Podcast, and I will talk to you next time. Bye.